Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Ad Age Remotely. I'm Janine Poggi, Senior Editor here at Ad Age, and thanks for joining us as we continue our countdown to Super Bowl 55. This year, Super Bowl ads will look very different. There'll be an outsized presence from Super Bowl newbies in the game this year, with at least 19 brands making their big game debut. And today, we are joined by one of those brands. I'm here with Jennifer Warren, VP of Global Brand Marketing at Indeed. Hi, Jennifer.
Hi, good morning. Thanks for
Good
having me.
morning. Thanks so much for joining us. So this is certainly an exciting week for Indeed, making its first foray into the Super Bowl. Can we talk a bit about the decision to buy in this year? What opportunity did the company see in the marketplace this year?
Of course. Yeah. Well, we see our job at Indeed as helping people get jobs. And now more than ever, people need that help. And so for us, it was the perfect time to make our debut and put our mission out to the world and our desire to provide hope to those that are seeking jobs right now.
And we will get to see that commercial a little bit later in the program. But first, I want to talk a bit more about what the goal is of the commercial and what you were really looking to do here. It's obviously a serious conversation with where unemployment rate has been amid the pandemic. Can you talk a little bit more about the goals for Indeed?
Sure. And it really does go back to providing hope. We spend a lot of time out there talking to job seekers, and job search on a good day can be a struggle and it can be challenging. It's a emotional journey for people, as I'm sure all of you can imagine, full of ups and downs. And so we look at everything we do right now from the perspective of how can we be helpful? And in this case, it really felt like the role we could play was in providing hope and encouragement to those that are seeking jobs right now. We're also in a pretty unique position in that we can see all the jobs that are out there. We had heard from people, at different points that they felt like jobs didn't exist right now. So we really wanted to put a highlight on the fact that there are jobs out there, people are getting jobs, and provide that hope and encouragement through this ad release.
I do want to remind people watching at home, if you have any questions or comments during this conversation, feel free to leave them on our social channels. We'll try to get to them here. So you talked about the goal of bringing hope and inspiration. I think a lot of the commercials this year, what we're seeing so far, a lot of humorous ads and more entertainment fun ads, which of course have always been a big part of the Super Bowl. Why do you think the serious nature, or how do you think the serious nature will be received by Super Bowl audiences?
I think it'll be received well because it's a highly relevant ad and topic this year. We did talk a lot about it, knowing that the Super Bowl's full of humorous ads, but that wasn't right for us because obviously if you've lost your job, it's serious and it's emotional. And so we think it'll be received well. It's an inspirational ad. It's something that provides hope and it's highly relevant. So we put everything we do right now through the filter of, is this helpful? And we feel like it meets that filter, therefore it'll be received well.
How is Indeed seeing or pivoting amid the pandemic? What kinds of data and consumer takeaways did you see from people during, lockdowns and then moving past lockdowns?
Yeah, so I think like all businesses, we were certainly impacted right when the pandemic hit, as other companies were, had restrictions and had to close down for a while. They stopped hiring. So we did see that hit. But then once the restrictions were lifted, we saw a rebound in our hiring as well as our job seeker activity.
So this is definitely, as other, first-time Super Bowl advertisers this year, we actually see a lot who saw their businesses see an uptick in consumer demand and interest amid the pandemic. So it seems to be a trend here where we're seeing newcomers to the game who, in some way benefited from what's been going on in terms of just growing consumer demand and awareness.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of demand right now to get people back to work, and that's certainly our goal. And we're seeing the opportunity with job postings. So we are seeing this as a great time to get out there with our message and get people to come to Indeed.
So can you talk a little bit more about the creative? What were you guys thinking of doing with this spot, and how did it all come together?
Yeah, so as I was saying, we really wanted to do something that was going to be helpful. We spend a lot of time out there talking to job seekers. And so we decided to approach this by using real job seekers. We felt like that was the only way to authentically show what it feels like to be on the job search today, both the struggles and the triumphs along the way. And so we started just by casting real job seekers that were in the job hunt and wanted it to reflect what it felt like today.
So all the people we see in the commercial are actual job seekers who have been using or previously used Indeed?
That's right. About 95%. We did have a couple of COVID related challenges where we had to pull in some other footage, but about 95% of what you'll see in the ad are real job seekers that are using Indeed and are at various points in their journey.
Let's talk about the COVID-related challenges. Certainly, even on a good year, Super Bowl commercials are hard to pull off. There are always some hiccups. This year in particular, obviously, with the protocols that need to be in place for safety. What was it like not only creating your first Super Bowl ad, but first Super Bowl ad in a pandemic?
Yeah, well, as I'm sure most people are aware, it is more challenging in that it takes a lot more time. So for us, we had about 18 or so people that we were had as part of our ad. And so it required 6 days of shooting. You really want to space it out and make sure you're following all of the requirements. And there's a lot involved in that with testing and making sure we're sanitizing everything. And so it really just, it took more time than what's typical. And clearly we also were not there on set and we're watching everything via Zoom, which was an interesting experience. So, that's what it felt like. Just took a little bit longer. And then one of our challenges was the night before one of our locations fell through. It was, because these are real people, we also really wanted to shoot in their natural, locations in some cases, or in a lot of cases, their homes. And we had someone who we were shooting in their apartment complex, and that fell through last minute. So we adjusted and we adapted. At some point we had, I think it was a plan A, B, and C, depending on several different scenarios. But I think we pulled it off well. And, the agency we were working with, 72 and Sunny, helped us, make it happen. And it went as smooth as possible during this time.
So you were shooting in various locations around the country. Did you sort of pick a spot so that it was centralized?
We were in California, so we were kind of deciding each day where we shoot based on where the job seekers lived and kind of moved around based on that.
Gotcha. How about you at home? Were you at home on Zoom watching this and kind of going, what was that like? Was that just a lot of waiting around on Zoom?
There was, yeah, we had a group text stream. So we'd say, okay, it's time, maybe at any hour of the day, jump on and let's look at this shoot. And so we were, very in touch with each other for 6 days and would spend a lot of time. We were ordering food and kind of joking about how, what a difference it was to be participating from home, but we still made the process fun.
Another trend, which again is always a part of the Super Bowl, but I think even more so this year, is celebrities in Super Bowl ads. There's a lot of A-listers that are appearing this year, probably in part because productions have been shut down on various projects and things like that. Can you talk about the decision not to go that route and to keep it with real people who use Indeed?
Yeah, for us, we wanted the hero of the ad to be that job seeker. That's who we're out there trying to help. And we really felt like that is the best way to reflect what it feels like. So we wanted to make the job seekers the hero of our ads. We felt like that's the way it should be.
I'm here with Jennifer Warren from Indeed. Hi to those of you watching at home. We have Monica from Colombia, Jose from Puerto Rico, Tatern from Michigan, Julie from California, Angelo from Pennsylvania, Jefferson from Colombia, and Charles from California. Thank you so much for tuning in. We're going to get to Indeed's commercial shortly, but I did want to ask also about how you were thinking about extending this campaign beyond the game itself. Obviously, buying a 60-second commercial in the Super Bowl is expensive, but it's just one day. So what are you thinking about post-Super Bowl?
Yeah, so that's a great question. So during the Super Bowl game itself, we have a big social activation the team's been working hard on, and we are calling it a kind of a war Zoom.
Yeah, I was going to ask, like, what does the war rooms of the pandemic era look like? Will you guys all be like on Zoom and chatting, or what is the plan right now?
Yes, that is right. I've spent a lot of time with the team, like, how's this going to work? And it'll be over Zoom, it'll be over chat. We've got our legal teams, we've got writers, creatives, we've got people pulling data, because what we're going to do is focus on all of the jobs that are available right now, really playing off the other Super Bowl advertisers in the categories that are advertised and highlighting the jobs in those fields using the hashtag now hiring to highlight those jobs.
Oh, so perhaps if we see, a Bud Light job opening and, Bud Light's in the game, you guys might be out there tweeting those kinds of job openings.
That's right. It'll be either specific to the advertiser or in the category or something that's related to the job. We really just wanted to shift the conversation from being just about the ads to talking about the jobs that are available right now too, and wanting to start a conversation that way.
Of course, this year, we've seen anything could happen at any moment, even from today until game day. Anything is possible, right, to change. What are the contingency plans, or how are you preparing for, any sort of change in the environment and any news cycle or things like that? And then also specifically for social on game day, how are you sort of making sure that there's no missteps along the way?
Yeah, it's a good question. More than anything, we've done a couple of test runs in that we looked at advertisers in the past and looked at how we would, develop content based on those advertisers. We've had, legal involved. We're going to have our community managers on call during this time as well. So really just trying to prepare for any kind of scenarios.
Do you think that there's any risk in taking sort of this serious route or addressing that's something that is very close to home for some people, during this time on a stage like the Super Bowl?
We think we're okay. We talked about that and feel like the ad strikes the right tone. We wanted to make sure that we provide hope, but we didn't, have false promises. That the journey's hard. So really wanted to make sure the ad showed both that it is a challenge, but that you'll triumph in the end. So we think it's the right tone.
Well, I think this is a good time to take a look at the actual commercial.
Great.
You're broken down and tired of living life on a merry-go-round, and you can't find the fighter, but I see it in you, so we gon' walk it out. And we'll rise up high like the waves. I'll rise up in spite of the ache. I'll rise up and I'll do it 1,000 times again for you, for you, for you, for you.
Well, I absolutely love that song. Can you talk about that version and who's singing that?
Sure. Yeah. So the song really plays a critical role within the ad. And when we heard it, we knew we wanted that song, but we also wanted to do a cover of the song. And so really set to find a great cover, someone with a powerful voice, but really finding someone with the chops to do that well, was a bit of a challenge. So spent a lot of time on YouTube and TikTok, and ultimately found a 19-year-old out of Vegas named Christian Shelton. Ran across him covering the song on TikTok and felt like it was both powerful as well as his voice was, filled with soul and optimism, and really carried the message and the power that we wanted it to. And so, we reached out to him. He was excited, but then we realized the next challenge was in, getting Andra Day to agree to letting us do it. And luckily, she loved it too. She loved his voice. She loved the story. A big part of this decision for us too, and wanting to do a cover, was we thought about the fact that this is really about helping people get jobs, and we wanted to give someone a job opportunity as part of the creation of this ad. And I love that comment. Sorry. Thank you. And so we wanted to give people, we wanted to give Christian a job opportunity. We wanted to put him on this great stage that's worthy of his voice. And Andra Day said, I love that story. I love his voice, and really quickly agreed to letting us do it. So we're excited. We think
That's
he's
great.
powerful.
Yeah, it's definitely beautiful. And we're getting lots of amazing comments on social right now. If anyone has any questions about what they just saw, or any other comments they want to share, feel free to leave them on social. But there's a lot of them coming in, so really exciting. One of the things I do want to talk about is how Indeed was thinking about inclusivity in the creation and production of the commercial, who you were looking to feature, the real job seekers that you tapped for this. What was the process like? How are you thinking about it from the get-go?
Yeah, so I think inherent in our mission is we help all people get jobs. And so I would say that it's something that's just always been a part of who we are. And when we create our advertising, we always make sure that we're capturing the all and reflecting the true labor force and those looking for jobs. And so that's really our foundation and our place to start. And then executionally, really wanting to make sure we get everything right and we're truly reflective. We have a diversity, inclusion, and belonging team inside Indeed that we really see as our creative partners, and love working with them. And they're at the table with us, going through, the concepts. They're going through casting. They're looking at, our final ads, and making sure that we're reflecting an inclusive environment. And so that's how we approached this ad.
Is that an internal team that sits there and does that with you?
It is. Yeah, they're our partners. So we love having them at the table with us.
Aside from the diversity in front of the camera, how are you thinking about who was actually behind the camera as well, production, editing, and all of the other things involved that, it takes to actually put out a spot like this?
Yeah, that's also becoming increasingly a part of our process, is just making sure when we are looking at our vendors that we have a diverse set of production, houses and directors as part of our review process.
So once the Super Bowl commercial airs, how will you be measuring the success of something like this?
Yeah, so this for us really is about driving our brand consideration and preference long term. So, of course, we'll be measuring lifts in our brand metrics, and then also we'll be looking at short-term traffic to the site and resume uploads. Because at the end of the day, we really just want to help people get jobs. So we're hoping to see some good activity on the site as well. But the real, goal for us is just to continue building our brand.
Have you seen, or have you looked to shift your media marketing spending amid the pandemic? Were you moving to more TV? Did you look for different avenues for marketing over the course of the past year?
Yeah, so obviously we want to follow, our strategy follows where people are. And so, television, online video, we're into gaming, social platforms, and not so much out of home these days. But we'll always just keep a pulse on where the viewership and the engagement is, and our media plan follows that. But I will say television and online video have been important channels for us.
We have a question from Christopher on LinkedIn. What motivates your work, and how long have you been in the business?
Yeah, thanks for asking. So in this case, what motivates the work truly is helping people get jobs. If you walked into our company, you'd see, well, when we were all working in the building, we help people get jobs, and it truly feels great to have that filter and that support from the company to say, look at everything we're doing and is it helpful? And that's very motivational, because we know that we're doing something that is truly needed in the world. And I've been in the business, wow, probably 20 or so years. And I've been with Indeed for 3 years. So as of like today or tomorrow, I think
Happy anniversary.
Thank you.
So despite all the uncertainty, like in the environment, even quite frankly, around the Super Bowl itself, back when you were starting this creation process, why did you still think that the Super Bowl is the right stage at this point? Like what makes the Super Bowl still relevant to do something like this?
Right. Well, it's the broadest audience that you can get. And we are a brand that is for everybody. So I think just the fact that we could reach a lot of people at one time with an important message, was what helped drive that decision. We also are looking to reach both, employers and job seekers, because at the end of the day, we need to connect the job seekers and the employers. So for us, it was about reaching a broad audience on a platform where people actually pay attention to the ads. And this is one of many, stories that we'll be telling this year. So this was really a campaign launch.
What will you be doing on Super Bowl Sunday? How will you be watching the ad?
Well, other than being both nervous and excited to see it debut, we'll be watching with family, and I'm sure spend a lot of time, in communication over chat with the team that's activating socially. And but yeah, we'll be at home.
Have you talked internally about, with the lack of Super Bowl parties this year, people watching at bars and stuff, what that might mean for the way, people will engage with the ad, but then also the way you will be engaging with people during the game?
Yeah, I mean, I personally think it's a good thing in terms of for the ads. I know in my past, I usually go to the parties to watch the ads, and I'm usually frustrated because I can't hear them because everybody's talking. So I kind of looked at this as people will be leaning in and be paying more attention. And then, I'm sure a lot of the communication will happen over social or texting or, through people's phones. And that's why we really are, obviously social activation has been a part of Super Bowl for a while now, but, we will be putting a lot of focus in creating the conversation via social.
I can't let you go without asking what your favorite Super Bowl ad of all time is. One or two even.
Should have been prepared for that. Well, last year, I would say my favorite ad was Smart Pock. My daughter makes fun of me because I can't
replicate the Boston accent.
But I thought that was a great ad. It was funny, and it also communicated the features. Other past ads, I loved The Force. Do you remember that one? I think
the Volkswagen.
For the same reasons. So there's been a lot of good Super Bowl ads out there.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. We will be excited to see this again on game day, but we appreciate you being here. And let's actually take a look one more time at the commercial before we sign off.
Great. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
You're broken down and tired of living life on a merry-go-round, and you can't find the fighter, but I see it in you, so we gon' walk it out. And we'll rise up high like the waves. I'll rise up in spite of the ache. I'll rise up and I'll do it 1,000 times again for you, for you, for you, for you.
Thank you so much, Jennifer, for being here. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me.
And as always, thank you to our Ad Age crew, Alfred Mascaroni, Anna Sakula, Max Sternlicht, and Elise Liffring for making this live stream happen. Be sure to keep an eye on adage.com/Super Bowl for all breaking news and commentary and analysis around Super Bowl commercials this week. Thanks everyone for tuning in.